All right, we are up. We are up. All right. Let me just give you a quick overview of where we're at. Okay. So this has been in the back of my mind for a while doing this. I'm like, well, seems like this game. I mean, some people play games really casually, right? And this game definitely has a sense of progression. It has a story. And the structure of the game is basically going to be, it's like kind of story led. So you'll basically like have a story section, and then you'll have like a mini game and a story section and then a mini game, and then there's this overarching sort of like extra sort of side progression, right? So hidden snowmen is one, and side progression as so far hitting targets, and there are 11 opponents, so at the very least we're going to have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What a great job that did. Let's try that again. God, seriously, Notepad? Seriously, Notepad? You really want to be that? You really want to do this to me? You really want to do this to me? Let's see if this. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now imagine sort of getting to here, and then I don't know, you lose your progress. It's gonna feel really crap. So I'm like, well, how am I gonna handle this? There's different ways of handling progression. Some games, some old games, would give you like a code. So what you could do is you basically like you create checkpoints, and then you basically you generate a random code. So this could be like Beaver 426, and this could be Coconut 452, whatever, and then you kind of just display what code they need to enter to get back to that point in the game. The problem with this system is we'd need lots and lots of combinations, because we need a combination of story progression and then however many side progression ones we have. So we really need to sort of save these things separately. So the code system didn't seem like a good solution. Saving files, not only is that restricted by most browsers, and this is a web-based game, but also you don't know what device they're playing on, right? They could be on a phone, they could be on a tablet, they could be on a PC, they could be on a Mac, they could be on Linux, they could be anywhere. And saving files is kind of clunky from the web. So I wanted to avoid saving files. Plus, how do you carry your save file from PC over to your phone when you hop on the train on the way to work? What I really wanted was the ability to play the game on PC, get to here, realize, oh, I need to go to college and it's an hour train ride, I want to keep playing, and I can offer the player a quick and easy way to do that. So it seemed like the best solution was going to be some kind of web-based solution. So we have Unity Gaming Services and Cloud Save, which is supported by WebGL. Now, what we can do is we can log the player in anonymously, and what happens is Unity will provide a they provide this long ass player ID, right? So it'll look like something like that, right? It's literally that long. Now, asking players to enter something that long, I think, is crazy for a game that's probably only going to get a couple of hundred players or whatever. For any game, to be honest, even if this was freaking Grand Theft Auto 56, I think that's ridiculous. And something the player can remember, such as an email address or at least a shorter ID or something like that, seemed like the way to go. So the way I did that in my gacha game is I'm copying what Hoyo do, right? What Hoyo do is each time a new player registers, we add one to the UID. So the first person who plays gets UID 00001, whatever, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you just get an ID. The problem with that is, okay, so how cloud save works, so you have player, you have game, or otherwise known as custom, and typically a player only has access to their own player data, right? So you could generate an ID, right? Like, okay, you're player number 56, and then you save player 56 in player data from the client, and the player now knows he's player 56. But where did you get the number 56 from? To get the number 56, you would have to know that the previous player was 55. So ideally what you want to do is you want to store 55 in game data. So what you do is you check to see if they've got an ID. If they don't, you pull 55 from game, and then you push 56 to player, right? But in order to do that, player then has to push 56 to game to increment this number so that we know that the next player gets ID 57, right? So essentially what this means is player needs to have write access to game, and by default, player does not have write access to game. Game is set up in a way where game is read only from the player. It is what's called server authoritative from cloud save. Now in my Windows game, I use something called cloud code, which runs server authoritative code. I know this sounds complex, but bear with me. This is how we do things like gacha pulls, right? You do not trust the client. You never trust the client. So the code runs on the server itself, right? We never run code directly from the client. All the client does, for example, the client says, hey, I want to do a gacha pull, for example, and I've wrote code that does all this. It's pretty cool in my latest game. So it's perfect that I've learned all this right now because I can use it in this game, right? But not quite to that level. I'm going to explain what the problem is in a second. So the client basically just says, hey, your server, I want to do a gacha pull, and that's literally all we do. Then the server will check currency. Okay, do you have enough currency to do it? It will generate the random, it generates the random numbers, right? The random prizes, let's say, right? It assigns the characters to the account. Only the server can do this. I've set it up so only the server can do this. The client cannot change their account in any way whatsoever. The server always makes account changes for the player. Because the player you also have different sections of this as well, right? When one of them is read only as well. So you can only do it through cloud code. Long story short, right? So even just to get this UID, you have to use cloud code to write to this part of the server, right? So the problem is that, remember up here I said Unity Gaming Services Cloud Save is supported. Guess what's not fully supported? Cloud code. So we need to use cloud code to generate a new UID. We don't have to do it this way. This is just the way I prefer to do it, right? This is just the way I prefer to do it. We could force them to register their email address, but the thing is, right, it all depends on what sort of experience you go for with the player as well, right? For me, I want the minimum amount of friction. So like there's also like different parts of the game that you can do this in, right? Like the easiest way from a development point of view to do this is to the very first thing the player sees is log in, right? Or register. So the very first thing the player sees when they log onto the web game. But this is for a contest, right? Where everybody else, let's just go to the contests, right? You've also got to think of what's your competition, right? And it seems inappropriate, right? So let's just play some of these now. Albert. I bet Albert doesn't ask me to log in or register. I bet it just lets me play. And so while people are playing these games, they're going to have an expectation that your game is going to behave the same way as well, right? So there you go. Press any button to start and we're in the game. So because all games are this frictionless on the web, to add any kind of friction to our game, even though we might be offering more bells and whistles for it. The player doesn't know that just by seeing login and register, and a lot of players are going to be put off by that. So a lot of players are going to go, if I do that, players will click on my game, they'll see login and register, and they'll be like, oh hell no, there's 50 other games I can play on here and I don't need to log in or register, so I'm just going to play one of those instead. So this is a big no-no for me in my web game. I don't want to force the player to log in and register. So that's why I'm going for the anonymous login path, where we'll sneakily sign the player in without them realizing, and we give them a sort of temporary account, right? And Unity Gaming Services has all this sort of built into it. And then what we can do is, if they stick around long enough and they're starting to feel like, well, wait a minute, you know, how do I continue my progress here if I don't want to do it all in one sitting? Well, then in settings, that's where I want to kind of put it. In when they go into settings in the game itself, or maybe even like we could pop up like with a message like 30 minutes into the game or whatever, saying, you know, hey, by the way, do you want to think about banning your account so you don't lose your progress? At that point, I think it's okay to kind of say, you know, hey, by the way, and also, you know, again, it's more friction. Asking them to remember a long ass Unity ID here is friction. Asking them to register an email address is friction. What are you going to do with my email address? You know what I mean? As soon as you start asking players for email addresses, phone numbers, things like that, and or even just think. I know this sounds weird, but think is big friction in games, right? If they have to think, even if we just say, you know, pick a username, that is actually a small amount of friction that you can avoid by saying pick a username, because then the player's like, oh man, and especially if the first name they picked, I like Handsome Giraffe. I always use Handsome Giraffe and it says it's taken, and now I have to think of a new name. It's friction, right? So instead, hey, we already anonymously signed you in. We already found out what your UID would be by querying the server. You would be ID 56. So your login ID is just 56. That's all you have to remember, is that you sign in with ID 56. Then when you bind your account, we can record your password. You can pick a password and we can upgrade your account so that you can log in on any device now, and then you just sign in with 56 and password. So the only problem is we need this part of the system to work to allow us to do this with our web game. Now, so far from testing, it seems to be working, even though this isn't technically supported from WebGL. It seems to be working, but this is what we're going to do, a bit more testing today. So yeah, the cloud code part, which is the only part that wasn't officially supported, is really just so that I can give them a nice short ID, just so that I can say, and it's nice for me, right? I can log onto my game and I can instantly see how many people have played it. Oh, look at that. We're up to ID 897. Wow, 897 people have played my game. That's great. It's just nice. It's a nice system, right? And it's a tried and tested system that other people use, and it makes sense, right? So rather than use the long ass, because the only other options are, because you need to give them some kind of username. You could come up with a random username, but then you've got to build a dictionary of random words, right? Like Fall Guys does that, right? Or it used to. You'd be like Hairy Chestnut 56 or something, right? And it's like, but then you've got to make a system like that, and then there's still a chance that something's going to have already been picked, and then the user might not like that name, and it's just, I don't know. I think just the incremental user ID system is the best system to go for. Okay, so I'll show you how all this works. Okay, we don't actually use that, and we don't actually use that. Okay, so this is my cloud script. I do need to modify my little first screen now though, because I want to add the ability to. Oh my god, my game's been running all night. My game's been running all night. That's cool, actually. It's actually quite cool. And it still works. It doesn't reset properly though, but that is a bug that I'm aware of that I need to fix. I've told it to reset, but for some reason it doesn't. So because those two were the last targets to come down during the last game, they didn't retract and refresh their mats like they should have. But look at the lights now. Doesn't that look cool? We've got Bloom working in WebGL, very low cost. We're not using post-processing because as soon as I installed the post-processing stack on standard built-in render pipeline, I went from 300 FPS to 60. So yeah, too expensive for web. Way too expensive for web. And I think it's because Unity really want you on like universal render pipeline or lightweight or something. They really want you using one of their scriptable render pipelines. But I really like standard, and the reason I kind of have to use standard for this one, not only is it just great performance and it's just like so quick and easy to get up and running. It's low cost, high performance. And the outline shader that I'm using here, this is like a Toon outline shader that somebody made inspired by Genshin Impact. It looks great and it's just so quick and easy to use, but it only supports built-in render pipeline. So that's another reason why I wanted to go for render pipeline, built-in render pipeline. But I think it looks great. This is kind of easy. Maybe I've just been playing for too long at this point. I also did get those snowball. Look at those freaking snowball mechanics. Like, look at that aiming now. You don't even have to be on point. As long as you sort of scanned over the target at some point, you'll probably hit the target. Oh, I was too late on that one. Actually, I think it's still hit. Oh, actually, you know what happens? I'd noticed this, right? Because the snowball will sometimes land through. Yeah, I think it's because there's no collider on this bit. Yeah, you can see I can walk through it. So what's happening is the snowball's sinking through that and it's hitting the target through the wall. I need to put a collider on that. Oh, I can't though. Yeah, there's a reason why I can't. Okay, no, I know what I need to do. Yeah, see, this used to be a collider, but what happens is because these targets have physics on them. Is that one poking out? They're all poking out a little bit, aren't they? Yeah, they are actually. Yeah, that's why I'm hitting them. Even if there was a collider on there, I think. I don't know what I can do about that. They don't score points for it. At least I don't think they do. Let's have a look. Score 44. Yeah. So yeah, I did because it used to. The player used to be able to cheat, and what they could do is they could hit the same target over and over again while it was up, and it would give them more lives and more points. But I changed it so that it now you can only score once per target, and the target has to be like available to hit basically. So it's better than it was, but it still needs some work. Cool. I can't believe it was running all night. It's quite funny. Right, let me just close this. All right, so I was just getting it to the point where I want to now make sure. So there's Unity saying it's signed in, and I've got some obscure ass. I told you it was that long, didn't I? That's my username that it picked for me because it's like some random hash thing. And then I wanted to make sure that I could retrieve keys and pairs. So I've made like a load data script so we can pull the key pairs from player data in here. So that seems to be working. Let's see if I get the same ID. I should get a different ID now. It's still the same ID. Interesting. Okay, so we pulled the keys. Yeah, so I don't know if I need that player ID from Unity or not. It's probably a good idea to store it though. So maybe when I record UID, yeah, we've got a field here for player ID because UID used to be player ID, but I realized it was confusing because Unity uses player ID. But this is player ID from Unity, so maybe what I should be doing is grabbing the Unity ID just in case we need it. I don't know if we do. Now I already kind of do that because what my cloud code script does. Let me show you this. This is pretty cool. So I'll show you my cloud code script. It took me ages to get all this working, by the way, with the other game. It's still kind of like, I don't think it's, is it, not all of this is like full release yet. Some of it's like, as per usual, I'm using bleeding edge shit, which makes my brain bleed. Okay, so basically what I do is I store these key pairs in game data, right? So one is player ID is, so player ID is a Unity key. Project ID is a Unity key. My custom IDs are next player ID, which I basically add 1 to each time, right? You can see it there, literally +1, and then we save that into put like private game data, custom data. And then what I do is I also save as a value pair the Unity game, the Unity ID, this big long-winded piece of shit thing here. So if we go into my game data, you'll see that. So that we have there's our next player ID. So if we go into next player ID, we can see that the next player ID should be 22. So the next time somebody plays, they should get UID 22. And then I have this player list here. So all of the players that are anonymously signed in, I store the Unity ID just in case I need it, so that I can figure out who's who, right? Because sometimes you can only see the player ID from Unity. So because we're using our own ID system, I've basically paired every Unity ID with my own ID, so that if I ever need to sort of figure out who a player is, wait, who is 80AMUHJ, blah, 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 then I can look it up and see, oh, right, that's UID 22. Okay, from there I can, you know, maybe figure out what to do. Let's say you want to ban someone in a gacha game or whatever, you need to sort of find their Unity ID to do it. Because if you go to play data, this is all, you can't change this. This is all stored by Unity ID, right? So yeah, I needed a way to look up what this code was for a specific UID. So that's why I make a playlist in here and I pair the Unity ID with my own ID here. So that's all working. So that's pretty cool. I don't need these debugs anymore. Let's get these out. I will leave them there though in case I have any issues. It's always better just to mute them rather than delete them. That's all working at least. UID assigned 22. Yes, at the moment we're assigning new IDs even if the player has an ID, because I only just got the data loading system into play. So let's start by starting from square one, because yeah, I should probably, so what I'll do is I'll save. So this is my save UID async function here. I think what I should also save against a player account is the Unity ID under key player ID. So let's see, that's a constant. So this is how you do it. So what you need to do is you need to define your keys as constants like this. So we want to say player, I think player ID is reserved. You've got to be careful with this as well. Player ID is reserved by cloud code or gaming services or something. So be careful what you call things. I'll do player just to be safe as well. Let's do a capital P because there's a small p, which is the way I like to do things. And I'll do capital ID. I think the way they write it is like this, which ironically is the way I would write it. So God, it got me. I got stuck so long last night when I was like, why won't it let me do this player? I was doing this thing called, this is how I would write player data, because I always start with a lowercase unless it's an abbreviation. So this is how I write keyval. I always do that. It's just the way that I've always done it. Most people capitalize the first letter, but I don't. It's just the way I've always done it. No specific reason. But I've done it for so long now that it's just kind of ingrained in me. Yeah, so it's weird for me to start that with a capital P, but I'm doing it to avoid using a pre-reserved Unity name, basically. Right, so now what we can do is we can say, when we save UID, so we say player data equals new dictionary string object, UID dot toString. That is a reserved name. Yeah, so that you can see there that is a dictionary string object, which is the class type that Cloud Save needs to be using. How would I do two key values at once though when I need to run a separate? You know, just to be super safe, I'm not entirely sure. I know that works for UID. So instead I'll put it in a separate async and we'll say PID for player ID. So we'll make a new one called save player ID as an async. This one is going to need a string because Unity IDs are strings. Let's put PID. Right, so that's already a string. So we can say PID. And instead of UID key now, we can say player ID. Right. Okay, that's not very consistent, is it? Okay, let's call it PID key. I like that better. And it's more consistent with the other one. Then we've got UID key, PID key. Yeah, I think that... Let's just stick with that naming convention as well. There we go. We'll just save it as UID and PID. Yeah, I think I prefer that. It's just cleaner. Okay, let's go with that. So this is the key. So this should now be PID key. There we go. And then we start at PID is the value. That's just a debug message. Player ID saved to player data. Let's just say PID and echo that back. This is UID and UID. Okay, so the problem is now when we save PID async, well, we need to call that method. So we say await save UID async, and now we can also say await save player ID async, but we need to give the Unity player ID assign new player ID. That's here. Signed in as, I wonder, how do I get that? How do I get that ID? Oh, there we go. So we can use authentication service .instance.player ID. So that is what we want to store in that key there. There we go. I hope that made sense. I'm still kind of learning it. It is kind of convoluted, but it's like anything. It's kind of easy once you get the hang of it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to delete all. I'm just going to delete everything because this is all just test data anyway. So that's empty now. Game data is empty. Let's go delete all the players. So these are all tests. Because we need to understand our data structure to move forward. All right, so now game data is completely empty except for that one. Yeah, I can set this to whatever I want because there's no players to interfere with anyway. So we'll just say next player ID 1. There we go. Just edit that. All right. Hit play. And we should get a new player of player ID 1. There we go. Oh, okay, maybe that was that's a misleading name then, isn't it? Because it said next player ID 1. Probably should have said last player ID because it gave us 2. Yeah, that should probably be renamed. Whatever. So apparently that's last player ID, not next player ID. Whatever. I can't be asked to change it because I'd have to change it in Cloud Code and then I'd have to deploy it and I can't be bothered. It's fine. As long as I understand. Okay, so what we should have now, when we play the game, we can see that we're a UID 2 and we're automatically signed in by Unity. And as long as our cookies are still valid, I think that anonymous login, will probably work for like 99% of players. The only time they're going to need to worry about is if they, like, if they're super, super casual and they, like, you know, come back to the game a week later, or they want to, like, play it across different devices or whatever, they just want, like, they want to actually bind their account. But for like 99% of casuals, I think it would probably just let them play the game even across of several days, and they would just go back to the game and it would just remember where they were, and it'll feel like magic. They'll just be like, whoa, what the hell? It remembered where I was, and that's going to be really impressive, I think. Okay, so we need to make sure everything is working correctly. Welcome to player data. Okay, there's our player, 8 or whatever. So, yep, we recorded a key called PID, which is the Unity ID, and we can see the UID 0002. So that's working in player data. If we check game data now, next player ID will say 3, 2. Yeah, because it's the last player ID, isn't it? Yeah, that really should say last player ID. It's really not worth changing. I could change it. It really should say last player ID, though, because it's not the next player ID. That's confusing me. And then we've got a playlist here as well, where all the players will be stored against their UIDs, just in case I need to quickly find somebody. All right, cool. So everything's working. Now I just need to check. So when I sign the player in now, we know we'll be pulling their key pair. Oh yeah, there was no key pairs pulled because that's a good point actually, because we created them as we saved them. So what I also need to do, that's a good job I checked that. Wait, give me a second, because I think my bathroom's free and I need to use it. I can sore throat. Can I control this? All right. Yeah, okay. So, Houston, we have a problem. What is the problem? Well, let's say I want to update. So I'm going to want to update player data, right? Every single time they make some progress so that we can load it the next time they log in. Although, okay, let's think about it. If we're saving, we save these as individual key values. So yeah, I suppose it doesn't really matter because we're already signed in anyway. Ooh, that's true, actually. See, the way I'm used to doing it when I do my own data management is I need to make sure I have all of the data all at once, right? But the nice thing about key value pairs is you can just save the things that you need to save when you need to save them. So if I create a new key now, right, called like story progress, and I save an integer against it, I don't have to worry about not having. Yeah, it's just the way because that's not how it's not how I'm used to doing it. I'm used to having like a save file that I manage from start to end. So I need to make sure any like stuff at the top is included as well as the latest stuff at the bottom. But that's not how key values work. So actually, I don't need to worry about that. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so we already have a UID of 2. So now what I need to do, I need to make sure this is working correctly in the right order. I'm not sure that it is. Let's just get my head around this. So on enable, we initialize async. We sign in anonymous async. This may already have a signed in. And then await UID service async. UI service async will attempt to get the player data if there is any. Right, so here I need to say, I need to look for a key of UID. This is kind of what I was trying to flesh out here last night. You can see how late it was. This was 4 AM, by the way. Yeah, because here I say if the UID string is empty, then this is where we create the new ID for them. And I purposely set it up as empty here because I wasn't sure how to do it. Okay, so here here's what we can do. We can do a private string function. I'll do ret for retrieve. Let's just call it retrieve UID. So here we can say string get UID equals retrieve UID, and then we'll use get UID as the variable. Shit, we're already using get UID as a function name. Check UID. Okay, we'll call it check UID. Wait, that's not a function name. Oh yeah, no, that one is. That's what was confusing it. And then we can say returning player with UID. Let's make it clear what ID we're using. And then we can bring back the UID. Why does save UID async use new player ID? Oh yeah, because that's how we get the player ID. Yeah, okay. I was confused why this was so long. I remember now, that's how we get the Unity ID. Okay, yeah, I remember. I did that today. Okay, so now this function needs to check our keys, so we can say for each. Let's see, what structure did we use? Key value pairs. Key val. Okay, so we'll do for each key val pair in key value pairs. If pair dot key equals UID, then this string here, UID, equals pair dot value. There we go. And we can also return, well, break. We can break out of that. Because if we find, well, there's no point in looking further into the data if we already found it, so we can break there. Okay, and it should find it at the top anyway, so win-win. So we can check that now. So what it should do, let's just follow the structure. So we sign in anonymously. Hang on, we initialize first, right? We initialize Unity Gaming Services. We sign in anonymously, and then we go to UID service. UID service checks to load all the player data, if there is any, and then we set a string of check UID, calling the string function retrieve UID. The string function retrieve UID checks the loaded player data from the key value pairs. If a key called UID, which there should be, right? Oh, that's player files. P UID, there, key UID. If we find a key UID, we grab this data here. And if that data exists, then we already have the player's ID. But let me see. Yeah, so I update the text UID here when it's a new player ID. I also need to do that here with check UID, right? There we go, returning player with UID. And then we'll reflect that text control with the ID that we got from loading the key value pairs. All right, let's check it. So what should happen now, if it's all working properly, assuming Unity lets us sign in under the same player, is it should already find that we're already UID2, and it should pull UID2's data into the key value pairs, and it should just keep us signed in as UID2 rather than generating a new UID for us. Fuck. It overwrote it and gave us UID3, so something's not right. Okay, it gave us UID3, so something's not right. So let's see what happened. We signed in. And generate UID generated a new UID for us. Maybe it's because it's called get UID. I think that needs to be renamed to create UID or new UID. Let's call it new UID. And that might be why, because it sounds like we're just getting the UID, but really we're making a UID. So let's see what else we've got. So new player ID. So UID services. No, it does say await get player data though. I think this is the part. Try load data. Retrieve all keys. See, why I don't understand. Why don't we just okay? First of all, I don't. This seems kind of redundant to me. Because all get player data does is tries to load data, and if it fails, it catches it as an exception. But load data probably already does that. So this seems kind of redundant. I'm just going to put the big word delete there, and see if we can change that for load data. Which I think is a task. Doesn't like that either. Why won't it let me await load data? Cannot await a void. It's an async though. So maybe it should be task. There we go. If I make it a task. That was a bit cleaner. I'm so lost. Where the heck is it? Load data. Right, where do I call load data? Right, the first thing I need to do, because I'm worried, I'm still kind of new to these await task asyncs and all this stuff. It's something I don't normally do. It is possible to have things running in the wrong order if you're not careful. So for my own sanity, I need to make sure the flow of my code is executing in the order, in the way it's supposed to. So this is our main branch here, which is initialize, sign in, and then do my UID service. UID service says await load data. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I need to know for my own sanity when this code below load data starts executing. So I'm just going to put code below load data call. And then at the end of load data and at the start of load data, debug.log load data start, load data end. If this isn't flowing correctly, it's not going to work. All right, let's see what happens now. So if it's working properly, we should retain UID 3 as long as the unit signs us into the same player. Which it did. Load data start, load data end, code below data call, returning player with UID 3. There we go. So now I've changed the flow. It's working. So it gave us UID 3. But now what we need to do is we need to make sure that it gives us a new ID if it doesn't find us. Right. Okay, so because we know our new structure works, so we can get rid of that. We know our new structure works if an existing player exists, but we need to make sure our new structure works for new players as well. Just to double, triple sanity check it before we move forward. Where was that code? There. Okay, that seems to be working. So to make sure that we are getting everything's working, so I'm going to delete this player's data because it's probably going to sign us into the same player because the cookie hasn't expired or whatever, the token hasn't expired yet. And now it won't find us because I just deleted it, and it should give us ID 4. I also need to make sure this is working properly in web build as well. There we go, UID 4 assigned. And if we check player data now, it should have created the player data against that player again. But this time with UID 4. Yep, all working perfectly from the editor. Beautiful. So now I need to make sure it works in the web. Otherwise, we're screwed. We're not screwed, it just means I can't use the nice little short ID system. I'm going to have to ask them for an email address or something, which is friction. Like it's got to either be, well, there's 3 ways to do it, right? I either generate some kind of ID for them, like Hairy Coconut 43, which is what Fall Guys does, which is probably the least amount of friction. But that's a pain in the ass to build as well, because like you've got to build a massive dictionary of words and things. You don't know how many players you're going to get. Or I asked them to pick their own username, which is a medium-ish amount of friction, depending on how many players you get, right? We've all played those games where we try to be, you know, bitter, twisted, sexy lemon 42, and it says user ID already taken. You're like, how the hell has somebody already got that? Because the game just has so many players. So I'm not a big fan of those either, to be honest. And also, like, it's like now the player has to stop and think of a username, and some players will back out at that point probably. But then maybe even you could ask for an email address, but then maybe even more players will back out at that point, because it's like, oh, I don't really want to give you my email address. And then it's like, then it creates new problems of like, are you going to email that email address and make sure that it's a real email address? And then are you going to allow them to do password recovery? I've done all that for my gacha game, but I don't want to get that deep with this one because it's just a Unity web showcase game, right? So like, I'm not asking, you know, I'm not ultimately going to try and do monetization in it and get them to do gacha pulls and whatever. They won't be playing this. The idea is the game isn't meant to be played over like a long period of time, but yeah, I still want to have some sense of player progression. Yeah, so basically this is just me. This is basically me trying to use everything I learned when I made my gacha games services recently for my gacha game, but make the least friction version of that, the lightest weight, least friction version of that possible, where it's completely invisible to the player until they actually want to do something with it. And then it's like, okay, well, here you go. Here are your options. You can bind this account. You can pick a password. And then you can log in from anywhere. But yeah, get this, right? I mean, it's crazy, right? And it makes me realize how great this web game thing is, right? So yesterday, when I first woke up, I pre-installed a Wuthering Waves 26 gigabyte download, which took probably a couple of hours, or whatever, right? At least an hour. Then the new character came out at like, I don't know, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. my time, which I was already up anyway. I lost the 50-50, by the way, so I've uninstalled the game now. But here was the flaw of Wuthering Waves, right? Wuthering Waves had me pre-install a 26GB download first thing yesterday morning. Then it had another 26GB download last night, so they must have updated it again. Then that thing took longer to unzip than it did to download. It took, I'm not kidding you, it took about 2 hours to unzip. They actually have a thing in the, they actually had a thing in the launcher saying, please don't panic if it looks stuck. Yeah, it was stuck for about 2 hours, right? And this system's fast. So that was about, let's say about 3 hours of just downloading updates from the launcher in total and unzipping in the launcher. Then when I log in after the update, it downloaded another few gigabytes of data in about 3 different freaking sections from the server on top of that. Then it compiled shaders for 20 minutes and said it was compiling shaders. Then it did about another 3 download chunks of about 1 gigabyte each. Then it asked me to restart the game again, so I restarted the game again. And then I was finally able to log in. The game was jittering all over the place, really struggling to even maintain a frame rate. All for me to lose the 50-50, and so I just uninstalled it. But like, think about that, that's insane. So that was over 40 gigabytes of data, probably close to 50 gigabytes of data downloaded through my internet across the day. Hours and hours and hours of downloading and unzipping and compiling shaders just for like an update to the game. Whereas this, I go to the game's URL, I hit connect, I'm in the game. That's it, I'm in the game. So like the amount of friction you're saving there is unbelievable. And I think that's web games' biggest strength. I think web games' biggest strength is just how frictionless the whole thing is. And so I think you should always play to the best strengths of something, right? So yeah, I think a big no-no is to take a platform. So WebGL is a platform that is about as frictionless as you can get. You literally just visit a web page and you're in the game. I think a big no-no is to use antiquated systems for other platforms in the newer system. Again, like some of that's hard to do anyway, right? Because of like browser restrictions. But if you were to try and do that, I think that's like, you know, kind of missing the point. You should always like understand what the platform's strengths are and then go with that. Which is why I always get mad at like bad gamepad support, right? Snowbreak, I'm looking at you, right? The beauty of a gamepad is its convenience, right? The beauty of a gamepad is I can just go like this and I can press buttons and I can cycle through options, right? So as soon as you make my analog stick become a mouse pointer and I'm moving it around with the gamepad analog stick and you're forcing me to click on buttons like that with analog sticks, like you're completely missing the point, right? You're not playing to the gamepad's strengths. It would be like making something for mobile and not making the most of touchscreen, right? Okay, this is my local host temporary bullshit version. So let me just get to, okay, our web server's still running. So let me load the live web server version in Chrome because it has full gamepad support. So if we go to localhost, oh shit, I had it there. Builds winter. Probably need to force refresh it to make sure we get the latest version. Okay, now remember, I expect this to give me a new UID because this is a different token, right? Because we're playing from a different browser. So as far as it's concerned, we're a different player. So I expect it to give me UID 5 right now on my first run. Or 6, maybe we must have been up to 6, I guess. Okay, so there we go. We got UID 6. We're in the game. Everything's amazing. Okay, now the real test. I need to make sure that... I thought I changed those achievements, whatever. The UI still needs some work, clearly. Okay, now let's say, I don't know. I take... Shut up. I take the family giraffe to the zoo, and then I get back later in the day, and I'm like, oh, what was that game I was playing? Seemed pretty cool. What were we, 6? I should be 6. Now, obviously, at this point, I can, instead of showing them the character select screen, they already picked the character, right? I can save that's what they picked. I can pick what character they picked. I can save what their best friend was. I can save their position in the game world. I can save their progress with the story, all the rest of it, and then just load that from this point forward. But this proves that it's working, right? UID 6 proves that it's working. So it remembered who we are. We're still signed in under the same person, and we managed to retrieve our UID from gaming services. Yes. Beautiful. It is working perfectly. Okay, that's great. What I don't understand, though, yeah, I shouldn't be able to aim and throw snowballs in this screen. We can deal with that later. It's your fault, Miku. Hello, Pika. Before you ask, I failed the 50-50. The game is now uninstalled. Thank you. Goodbye. Okay. Yeah, you see that achievement thing? So because we're actually running in a weird screen shape, I'm not actually full screen. But that achievement should still be in view. Now, I thought I set that up, though. Achievements. I did. I remember doing it yesterday. There. I said anchor at the top. Oh, I know what it is. It's got an animation on it. So the animation position is overriding it. But also, okay, also to be fair though, the animation doesn't bring it down low enough. So maybe that can. Yeah, it's probably because I set anchored position now. So I think all it is I need to update the animation now to reflect the new anchored position. So we can do that. So let's bring it to there. Grab that data point. Put it there. There we go. Okay, and we'll just leave it on the screen a little bit longer. I always felt that went off a bit too early. There we go. There we go. Talking about Word, don't worry, I went all in and lost the 50-50 to Encore. At least you got Encore. I got fucking Calcharo. Oh, I uninstalled that game so fast last night. I was so annoyed. It's fucking twice in a row now. Now with Black Swan, at least I logged in a week or two after uninstalling it and I got her in one pull. So let's see if that happens this time. I don't know. I don't even know if I'll play it again. I was already at the end of my tether with that game, but that was just like the final straw for me. The thing pissed me around for hours and hours and hours updating as well. It's such a pain. Compiling shaders. Literally hours just to do that to me. Okay, so that should fix that. Right, so we've got cloud data fully working, which is amazing. So what we need what we need to do now is start working on like data structures, figuring out what keys we want, what data we need to be saving, and to be able to restore progress for the player. I went all in because I was feeling a bit burnt out from Wua, but at least we got an official date for Infinity Nikki. Are you hyped for that? Why is it white? Oh, it's because I left those turned off. That's why. There we go. Okay, I need. You know what? While I'm here, I need to fix the other ones as well, then, don't I? I don't know what you mean by you went all in. Did you spend? Is that what you mean? Yeah, I'm not spending. Especially not in that game. I can't right now. Anyway, I'm absolutely fucking penniless. I'm having to use my credit just to fucking get by. Stupid fucking government haven't even dealt with my application. I mean, I did leave it till the last minute, but still, it was like that was like freaking 11 days ago, and I haven't heard shit. God, my throat. I can't believe how bad my throat is. I don't know why my throat hurts so much. Where are my achievements? Canvas, there. Achievements. Let me check the other ones. I'll close that one. Wait, that one says center though. Okay, so basically what we do is we set it to the top anchor. It says center top. Okay, that one seems okay. Maybe I already set that one. Lost Snowman says center top as well. Oh, you know what I think it is? Yeah, I think I set center top. No, I actually didn't. I must have set them all at once. Oh, and I'm using the same animation achieve. Okay, so that would have fixed. Yeah, that would have fixed all of them actually. Okay. Okay, so I need to change this now to support the new changes that I made. Damn you. Damn you. There we go. So I might not have, because I'm kind of short on space here. Progress is clunky at best as a description. So I'll just put the boxes. And I'll just say new game or continue or something like that. Come down a little bit. I'll call these data new, data load. We might have space. So if I put, let me think about how this should look. Because I could say account under there. I could say account. I'm trying to have as minimum friction as possible on the player, so I don't want to scare them away with anything. This is the thing that has the button on it as well, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not sure why my buttons are shaped like that. I need to fix that. I'm worried the word account might turn some people off without them even trying it, because it kind of sounds like people make predictions about interfaces, right? If I saw this, I'd be thinking, okay, when I hit that play button, is it going to ask me to create an account? Because it looks like it might. Now, some people might not even give it the time of day as soon as they see that. They might think, oh, account, no thanks, I'm out of here. So maybe account isn't the best way to say that. I don't want that to scare anybody away. And maybe it's the word login as well. Because as soon as I see, yeah, just the way that looks, right? Account, new game, login. I would expect this game to start asking me to create an account as soon as I hit play, even if new game is highlighted. But that's not what I'm going to do. So I think I'm going to be, it was not really dishonest, but I think I'm going to be a bit more. How can I put this? I don't even know that this needs a heading. This might not need a heading. But I think even there, even without the word account, new game login, because the other button says login, it makes me think. I think I'm going to put that back to continue. I think that makes more sense. So it's like an old, because then it's like an old game interface where you say, well, are you starting a new game, or are you continuing a previous game? Because that's technically still correct, but now we avoid words like login and account that might scare some players away. Whereas continue, people associate continue with just saved data in general and not accounts. Do you know what I mean? I think I'm right about that. So if I saw this interface now, I wouldn't necessarily think it was going to ask me to create an account. But I might be thinking, oh, that's interesting. So you can continue a previous game. I wonder how that works. But that's all I'd be thinking. I'd be thinking, oh, they must have come up with some way to continue previous saved games. I wonder how that works. And then later in the game, then I'd learn about it when I'm already deep in the game, and it's like, oh, okay, so they already set me up with an anonymous account, and if I want to bind that, I can, and then I can log in on that screen there. But it's about not wanting to turn players away from first impressions, you know what I mean? Because some players, I think, would see that and be like, oh, Log in. Oh, no thanks. I don't want to make an account. Why did that break everything? What the hell? Wait, what? Okay, let me undo all that. I don't know why it looks like that. So this should be the text mesh pro object, which it is. What if I just resize it like that? Okay, it's got, right, for some reason it's got a yellow. So what is the yellow part then? I am so confused. That's the rect of the back box, but the button is on the text box. And it's saying that this is the text box. But as I move the white rect, there's this yellow rect inside of it. So the thing that... What the fuck is going on? That is so weird. So if we size the yellow box to the white box... Okay, that seems to size both of them now. I don't even know what that is. It's weird. I need it to be the size of this button, that's why. But how do I get the correct box now? Okay, that seems to be correct. God, that was awkward. Okay, new game. And now I need to do the same with this. So, again, we've got this white box and this yellow box. I have no idea what that is. Size the yellow box to the white box. What the fuck? What am I looking at? Okay, now we can size the whole thing to the button. Well, this technically this is the button. Okay. I don't... I wonder if one is for the button and one is for the text mesh pro control. I don't know why or how this happened, but it's a mess. Okay, I really want to fix all this because this is a mess. It does work, but it's clearly a mess. Okay. I'll do it there then. Oh my god, what have I done to this? I wish I knew. Why does it look like that? That's so weird. I have no idea what the hell I've done to this. Okay. Oh my god! Where is that one? Move it up here where I can get to it. Nah. I'm gonna write pig's ear of this. Okay. Good job I've got to the end of January, innit? It's going to take me that long just to resize these. Okay, we're almost there. I don't even know what the second box is. There are two components on this. There's a Text Mesh Pro component, and I added a button component. Now, why the hell I added a button component to the Text Mesh Pro component, I have no idea. Probably because it's on top, I think, and the other ones might have been blocking raycasts. I'm not sure. So maybe one is the button and the other one is the Text Mesh Pro. I don't know. It still seems kind of weird. Okay, does it look good? Yes. Does it still function? Let's find out. I need to add listeners to these and stuff. But yeah, that looks more like casual friendly now. Like as a player, I don't feel like it's gonna ask me for a blood sample and, you know, my phone number and what bra size my pigeon wears or whatever. But now I can wire it up so that if you press continue, then it presents you with enter your UID and your password. And then if you go and do that, then we can manually log in and get the data that way. Okay, these seem to still be working, but this now needs resizing because it's a different size to that. Okay, but yes, basically. Damn you, why? Why are you like this? Okay. Don't worry, I'm watching your stream too. Just got Genshin on the left side of my screen and chat on the right side. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'll play Genshin at some point. We haven't got any nice characters though, have we? Isn't it all boys or something, or reruns? I don't know. Oh, is Granny Pink Hair up or something? Is she next? I don't even know who's next. I have no idea. I had the live stream on the other day, but it was I'm so busy with this. Like, I only really heard it like in the background. I wasn't really listening that closely to it either. I was too busy with this. But if she's up, I might see what. I mean, I'm not even close to P. I don't think. I have no idea. Yeah, so I'm extra pissed off with gacha games right now because I wanted to try and get that wrapper on Star Rail, and I got a bunch of free pulls last night, and she's gone already. And I was like, what the frick? I thought she had like ages left on it, and it's just like Acheron rerun and that stupid dude that I don't want. So, and then also losing the 50-50 in Wuthering Waves, it's like, oh great. So Bit salty about all of that. Yeah, there's something weird going on as well with this font. Okay, I need to figure out why this is the case. Let me go to this font. So check this out, right? If I try to add numbers, look what happens. So TM Pro, Alt-On Trial, Regular. Are you telling me? Are you telling me that the Alt-On font doesn't have any numbers in it? Because that seems kind of unlikely. I didn't actually install it on my system, did I? Okay, let's install it on my system. Do I still have it in my downloads? I've got it in my project. Fonts. Where? Did I put fonts somewhere else? I might put them in core or something. Wait, where are my fonts? I definitely added them. Maybe I put them in UI. Yeah, I put them in UI. Okay, here we go. Alt-On. Okay, I just installed all those fonts. Do I have to reopen this? Alt-On Trial. Is it because it's a trial font, so they took the numbers out of it? Tell me that's not what they did. Tell me that's not what they did. Oh my god, they actually did. No fucking way. Is it because it's a trial and they want money for the full version, and so they took the numbers out? That is insane. So I thought that Unity made a mistake, but that's actually what the font looks like. But it's called Alt-On Trial, which makes me think that it's like a trial version that they took the numbers out of. That is so stupid. So is it not a free font? I don't understand. £23 for a font. How dumb do you think I am? 111 quid for a font. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your tiny minds? So I guess it's not a free font then. Game's cancelled. I can't afford the font. This one says free download. But it might be the trial. Or is it a bootleg version? No, that's the one I'm using. But it says here you can utilize its free version. So I'm guessing this is the same. Yeah, it's the same trial. Get the full version of the fonts if you want to use it for commercial purposes by purchasing the license. Yeah, but it's not for commercial purposes. But I would like to be able to use numbers, please. What a bunch of pricks. Jesus Christ. 7 grand for a font? Okay, so I might wanna look at changing my font then. Yeah, because Altone has a trial and it's missing its fucking numbers. I never thought I'd see the day. I'm doing Genshin now for the day, but Genshin didn't make me a bit burned out over the same amount of time as I played WoW, which makes Genshin the better game. God, Genshin's a better game overall by far. The difference is night and day, I think. Yeah, I mean, even compared to other Hoyo games, I really think they made something magical with Genshin. They just I don't know what it is. Yeah, there's something about Genshin. I never really get. I mean, I have okay. It took a lot to burn me out on Genshin, and to be fair, I only really I say I got burned out on Genshin. I didn't really get burned out on Genshin. I just got mad because it didn't have new content to play, and so I kind of just got burnt out making new accounts and replaying the same content over and over again, which anyone would. But I still wanted more Genshin. Like that was why I was so mad, like, and why I was making new accounts. So I've always just wanted more from Genshin. I've never felt like, oh, more Genshin. No thanks. But I feel that way about even all the other Hoyo games. Like, oh, more Star Rail. Oh, Simulated Universe again. Oh, Zenless Zone Zero. I'm getting sick of it. You know what I mean? I never feel like I'm getting sick of Genshin. I'm just sick of waiting for new content in Genshin normally. So they've definitely got something special there with Genshin. Iris 001, you're yourself. You're yourself. That's hard to say. Try saying that. You're yourself. You're yourself. Am I calling you a yo-yo? I'm the yo-yo. Word today I did a Havoc Abyss mod, which was basically like TOA with a timer. That's it. I'm done. I'm not. No. It's uninstalled. It's uninstalled. I don't care. The if the camera's a little brighter, it would probably blind me. I know the screen's all white right now. Bear with me. It's because I'm trying to get fonts. Download fonts. So basically, I found a font that I liked for my game, right? And I only just noticed. Well, I noticed a while ago that it didn't. Let me try turning this down. It is quite bright today. Is that better? We don't normally have sun in England in the winter time, but it is quite bright today actually. So yeah, my camera was struggling. There you go. Is that better? Is that better? It'll be dark by 3 o'clock. All right. So let's see. Download fonts. So I managed to find a font that I like, right? And in my game, I noticed every time numbers were showing up in you, cunt. Who are you calling a cunt? All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, no numbers, and I'm like, why are the numbers struggling to display with this font? And then I noticed as I installed it on my system, because I thought Unity had made a mistake, but then I noticed that it's called Altone Trial, and in the trial version they've took the numbers out of the font. So yeah, I guess I need a new font now. I get to keep my eyes. I can't. Can I turn this down? I don't know if I can turn this one down. This is why I like dark mode. Do you know what? People thought I was crazy, right? People thought I was crazy. So right about... This is about... Let me think. When was this? Oh, God. When was it? We're talking the early 2000s, right? I changed at work. I worked at a call center. And I used to get, I still get a lot of headaches, right? And I was sat in front of a screen all day. And the screens were just so bright. And even when you turned the brightness down, it was just like, oh. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, why is everything white on a computer? It's just so bright. So I changed my Windows color scheme and I created, way ahead of my time, I created my very own dark mode for Windows. And everyone was like, it's disgusting. That looks awful. Oh, that's probably slowing your computer down. And oh my God, anything bad you could imagine that somebody could say about this thing, people would say it to me. They were like, oh my God, he's crazy. Why would you want it to look like that? It's hideous. It's awful. Nobody wants that. You are weird. You're breaking the computer. You're breaking your brain. You're breaking our brains. We hate you. It wasn't that bad, but basically they made me sound stupid for wanting a dark mode. So I created a dark mode way before dark mode was a thing. But I'm trying to explain to them, look, I get a lot of headaches, right? And think about it. Let's say, well, let's figure this out, right? Let's figure this out. What is 1920 times 1080 in terms of pixels? Oh, shit. Let me try that again. And resolutions can sometimes be bigger than that, right? But just on a 1080p screen, that's 2 million pixels, right? If you have 2 million pixels in front of your eyes that are all white, that's 2 million tiny little pieces of light burning your retina slowly, hours and hours and hours through a day. And I'm trying to explain to them, well, why wouldn't you want the majority of those 2 million pixels to be dark rather than light when they don't need to be emitting light? It's easier on my eyes. But they wouldn't hear it. And now look, everybody wants dark mode now. Everybody wants it. Dark mode pioneer. I know I should have. Oh, if only I could have like trademarked it or something. You know, I could have been a zillionaire by now. Everybody wants dark mode now. Well, today is sunny over here too, but the sun has already gone down. Well, phones have dark mode, so wouldn't a PC have it too? Since you did say PC is supreme though. Yeah, but this is, I'm talking about like back in Windows. This was Windows NT. Dude, do you even realize? Windows NT. I mean, to be fair, it was even old then. This is what Windows NT looked like, just to give you an idea. And it was already outdated when I was using it, because this was the early 2000s, but this must have come out in like, I don't know, 90s or something. But we were still on it because like companies don't like to spend money, right? And so I made everything as dark as I could on here, and people were like, "Ooh, why are you doing that? It's hideous." Ooh. And I'm like, because I'm sick of my eyeballs being burnt and getting headaches all the time. That's why. And now everybody wants dark mode. Anyway, we need to find an alternative. Because this one doesn't have numbers, because it's a trial version, and I need to pay £23.26. Or if I want the full family, it's £111.47. And you know what? Let me just check my pockets. You know what? Oh, you know what? Oh, wait. I found some. No, that's what I found. Oh my god, yeah. So that's not happening. Windows XP was the goat. Well, you know what? I used Windows because I hated XP. Robbery, I know. Tell me about it. I hated XP. I hated Vista. Everybody hated Vista, but I hated XP as well. But Windows 95 and even Windows 98 become like so outdated. So there was a version of Windows. Let me show you what I used. I used one called Windows 2000, and it was basically a newer version of Windows NT, but it was so much better. I used this while everybody else was using Vista and XP. I used this Windows 2000 for the longest amount of time, basically until about Windows 7 came out, I think. And this was awesome. I used this as long as I could until it just wouldn't work anymore. But this was awesome. It was like the best of Windows NT, but with the extra stuff that Windows NT wouldn't do, like JPEGs and video files, and so it had a bit more multimedia capability and stuff like that. So it was kind of like the best of both worlds. But yeah, Windows NT was awesome because it was built for, you know, networks and servers. But so was this. This was basically like a newer version of NT. So yeah, while I was running dark mode on my Windows NT at work, I was coming home and running my Windows 2000, playing my games and stuff on it, which is pretty nice. Windows 7 was pretty good. Yeah, 7 was pretty good. It only started getting good after Windows 7 again. But yeah, I hated XP and Vista with a vengeance. I just couldn't use them. I know most people liked XP, but I freaking hated it. Yeah, I don't know. I just did not like it. Anyway, Alton. Let's see, Alton fonts like Alton. Free. So I need similar fonts. Here we go. Not like Alton. Okay, that one's a little bit like it. Not that one. That one. It's quite thick though. Libra Franklin. I want a thinner one really. Yeah, these are quite thick though. Like if we look at that one, it wants to look like this. There's our reference, right? There's our reference. This is the font I cannot afford. There we go. It's too rich for my blood. 111 quid. I want to be able to eat, you know. Yes, I want my game to look good, and I want to be able to players to be able to read it, but I also need to eat, you know. So sorry, I can't give you all my money. Shut up. No, it's not. Freak off. How dumb do you think I am? Warning, scanning. Shut up. What is happening? Oh my god, stay away from that website. Did you see that? Right, stay away from that website. My god, what the hell was it trying to do? How dumb do you think I am? Warning, your PC is infected with a virus. So install this virus right now to fix it. Like, yeah, right. How stupid do you think I am? Right, don't answer that. 16 fonts similar to Archon. Not Archon, Alton. Anton? What about this one? Is this website trustworthy? Oh god, you have to accept everything? Do I accept a rectal exam to look at some fonts? Jesus. Oh, really? Is this how you show your fonts off? Oh my god, an ad. How's it going to be? It's going to be ad upon ad upon ad. God, the internet used to be cool, man. You used to be able to get stuff. And it wasn't like this. It wasn't like everybody's trying to like nickel and dime you at every single turn. Or like display so many ads that your eyeballs are going to like implode from all the adverts. Like it used to be cool, man. It used to be people sharing stuff and being creative and getting stuff for free, and you'd have to wait like 5 minutes. You'd start to see a little bit of cleavage, and then you could see a little bit more cleavage because the images would load so slowly, and you'd be like, "Come on!" and it would like disconnect and it'd stop, and you'd be like, "Ah!" You'd have to start again. I remember those days, dial-up, man. Yep, that's what the internet used to be like, and now your cousin's probably on OnlyFans. Like you don't even think about it, right? Anyway, let's see, what have we got? There's got to be other font websites. Is that Fit Girl Repacks? No. What girl? What? I don't know what you're talking about. I would never. I don't even know what that is. Maybe. Monster Art. Monstat? Monstat! Oh my god, Venti. We could use Venti's font. Venti's got a font. I didn't know Venti had a font. Probably be drunk. Every time, probably only speaks drunk speak. You type something. Okay, why isn't it? Lord! Oh, because it can only download it. That looks kind of close to it. It's a little bit thicker. I think I've used this one before, actually. Got regular and bold. Alright, we'll get them. Okay, I'd already downloaded that one, apparently. Are they both in the same zip? Oh, they're both in the same zip anyway. God damn it. Okay, right. Well, so now we've got 15 copies of that. We only want one. I'm not greedy. I don't need like 15 copies of each font. Unless I can sell them for 100 quid each, then yeah, give me as many as you can. Something tells me that's not the craziest thing I've seen though, right? Somebody made a snowball on 3D SketchUp and was selling it for like 20 quid. And the comments were amazing, right? It was like, who the hell's gonna pay 20 quid for a white circle? The internet's crazy these days. Okay, we'll keep looking in case there's better ones. But that's a possibility, that one. That's pretty close. How do I see the other ones? Yeah, I think I've used this website before as well. And you just incriminated yourself. No, you see, as a game developer, I need to check to make sure that none of my games are on there. That's why. Yes. It's you know that old saying, keep your friends close, but your enemies even closer. Are these supposed to be similar to Alton? Because they're not. There's some good ones. To be fair, it's a sphere, not a circle. I know, I actually thought that. But the comment said white circle, which I thought made it sound even funnier. I don't know, man. Fit Girl Repex kind of sounds like a friend to you rather than an enemy. Nah, I agree. It's great. Well, this is another reason why I think the future of games is like web, right? It's like online games. Because like yeah, it's as somebody who makes games, like at the same time, like I can't imagine anything worse than spending. But this is why. But not everybody's like me. The thing is, right? I think it's great for like overpriced games that I would never pay that money for, and I just kind of want to get a feel for them or whatever. Or like games that really don't need that aren't exactly gonna go under because I get a copy of it. But if it's a small indie dev who's like struggling to make ends meet, and you see your game on there, that would kind of suck if you know that like thousands of people are just pirating your game. So this is why I think online service games, like, at least especially if you make them free to play, I think the free to play model just makes the most sense these days. And this is what I like about this new Unity web game thing. No more downloads, no more updates, no more compiling shaders, none of that bollocks. You just go to a website and you're in the game, and that's it. I mean, how great is that? So I really think they're onto something with that. And it's like similar to what Stadia was trying to do, right? But you don't need any special software, you don't need a subscription, you don't need any of that. And it just seems like a no-brainer. And I think if people like your game, they'll, a lot of people will support it and spend money or whatever. You can put like donation links, or you can sell little DLC outfits or whatever, you always find a way to monetize it. But yeah, I think as an indie dev, to just like put a game on Steam or whatever and then just be like, oh yeah, $20 up front, please, is just kind of crazy, really. And I know that Steam has like a refund policy, but like on other platforms they don't, right? Like, you can't get a refund on like PlayStation, Xbox, or Switch. So like you're literally saying, gamble and give me $20 or 20 quid or whatever, and my game could be shit for all you know, and you're not going to get a refund. And that's a huge ask of a player, I think, and especially when you're not an established, game developer or something, and you're really asking people to take a really big chance on you with that. But if your game's like free to play, then and especially if people can just log onto a website and play it straight away, then there's no reason people won't try your game. No reason for them not to. Don't you have your own website as an indie dev? Yeah, I've got my own website currently, which yeah, if you go to playcompile.com. And this is what I mean. It's so cool, and I can just go play games. Hungry Paimon, for example. Okay, it's been doing that lately. Let me just refresh that. And you can just there you go. We're in the game. We can go full screen. And like, how easy is that? It's just crazy, right? No downloads, no nothing, no logins. I'm just in a game. I think it's... Did you make this so cool? Yeah, you can... The code for this is on GitHub and everything, so... Yeah, I made this... Well, this one I didn't make all of it live on stream. This one was a lot harder than I thought it would be. So, I wanted to make a match 3 game, and as I started making it, I realised, oh my god, this is so much more complicated than I actually thought it would be. So this game was a bit of a bitch to make. But we got there in the end. And yeah, you can go... So if you go to my website, some of these games have... If you go to my GitHub, like this will link you to, well, eventually. I need to fix this. Some of these links are missing. But yeah, that one's like on GitHub, so you can get Hungry Hungry Pime on GitHub, and then all the code. This is the Unity project, so you can actually see how it was put together and download it and stuff like that if you want. Or you can just play it in the web browser, or you can download a Windows release. You can just get the Windows release. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's amazing. I love it. I just for me though, I do it for the joy of it, right? Like I do it because I enjoy making games, so I just want to share. You know, I want to share not only the games themselves, but like how I actually make them, and I just want people to get out there and make games and share them because I think it's the world will be a better place for it. I already tried it and it's okay. Wait about tried what? Even though before that can happen, we need internet stability around the world to go up like 100% online all the time. Are you talking about Stadia? It depends, right? Because Stadia was trying to be like a fully AAA platform. It depends. First of all, it depends how big your game is. But this new Unity web thing is better than Stadia, in my opinion. But you just have to you have to build specifically for it, and you kind of have to have some considerations for how you make your game as well. But yeah, I reckon Genshin would probably run fine in it if they actually wanted to build it onto the web like that. But I don't think they will because, you know, the game's already got its audience, so they don't need to. But I think they should. I think they should think about doing that for future gacha games. If you never have to download another gacha game, you never have to wait for an update, you never have to compile shaders and all this other bollocks. And you can just go straight to the game's website and log straight on like that. I think it's going to be amazing. And that's basically what I'm going for. So at the moment I'm working on this Winter Games thing. I think I'm just going to put this font in that I got already because I want to get on with things. So I'm going to do this one. Okay, so where do we start? That one is, these are the font files. So let's go into my project. Fonts. Import these. And then I need to go to text mesh. But yeah, for now, what I'm doing is I'm participating in a contest that runs till the end of January, which is to build the best web game that you can, which is what I'm trying to do now. A contest that Unity are hosting. Who knows? Maybe I'll win. That would be cool. And then once I've done that, I'm going to get back to the gacha game that I'm making. But I'm seriously considering now, because I was originally going to make it like a Windows build or whatever, but I'm seriously considering now making it a web game that you just log into on the website, because I think it's awesome. And I'm pretty sure it will all work as well, as long as I bear that in mind as I'm building it. Yeah, and I think, like I said, I think they're onto something. Right, font asset creator. So this one was like, it kind of sounded like Monster, didn't it? There it is, Monster Art Bold. Generate, save, save. Monster Art. Regular, save. And now if I change some of my text meshes, I'll have to go through them all and find them all. I want to change my Alton to Monster Art, because some of them have, like, a good example is the player, where is it? Like the dialogue needs to use it. Find all this stuff now. Dialogue. TXT dialogue. There we go. And also the character select wants to use it. Biography. Image, character name, txt biography. There we go. Start regular. Okay, I want to make sure it still looks good. When Infinity Nikki comes out, I'll play Genshin and Nikki daily, but we might downgrade playing that daily after Nikki is out. You're really hyped for this Nikki. Okay, so I need to wire these up now. New game and continue, but we have buttons for them now. I just want to see if... Okay, so that's... are you kidding me? That one's also missing characters. So what is that supposed to say? Oh no, this one I think is supposed to look like that. I think it's supposed to be their way of censoring the word. Because I think it looked like that on the website, actually. But one of the characters said she had an IQ of something. And it wouldn't show the numbers. There you go, IQ of 999. So numbers now work. And I think that looks okay. Okay. Yeah, so we can make sure dialogue looks good as well. With the new font, should be fine. I did like the old one, but like if it doesn't have numbers, it's kind of shit. Yeah, that one's fine. It is thicker than the other one. Yeah, I did prefer the other one. We might find another one at some point, but for now that'll do. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay, so we need to wire these buttons up. So if we have a look at this setup, we didn't end up using a count because I didn't want to scare people off. So we've got a script here set up, and for each button we need to link things up. So we have borders for buttons. So now we need a border. We need 2 public raw images. We're going to do a border. I called it account, didn't I? So account new and account load. So account N for account new. And we'll do L for account load. Okay. Then there are buttons for both of those. So we want public button account new, public button account load. Okay, so let's link those. Okay, is this the one with the border on? Yes, it is. Okay, so we want account new is that one. Account load is that one. The button is actually on the text object, so our button is here. And these still have the original name, so I'm just gonna update these names. So this one is account new. This one is account load. Okay, so account new, N, account load, L. Okay, what we also need to do is we need to create listeners for the buttons, basically. So if we just copy this, we now want to refer to button account new, keep it in the same order, button account load, and we'll add a listener, click account new, click account load. Okay, so it wants voids for these now. So what we can do is make some voids. So we want void click account new. There we go. And we want a void click account load. Now, all these do, basically, if we look at these, we grab the borders for whichever one is selected. So if we look at the way this works, these are like toggles, right? So you need to pick either this one or this one. So you can either have a new game or continue. The same as you can either have regular or full screen. The same as you can have either keyboard or gamepad. So essentially this one disables this one and vice versa. So what we do is we say border account new enabled equals true. Border account load enabled equals false. And here we say screen full screen is true because these are like, we want to put it in full screen as they click it. And then here we like activate a new game object and stuff like that. Now for account new, we literally don't need to do anything. We just need to show that we're just going to run things as they are, basically. Well, this is where things get a little bit weird, actually. Think about this. Because technically... Okay, in my brain, which is always a scary place, the reason for this button is if you started a game on PC and then you're about to go and on a 1-hour train journey and you want to continue the game on the train on a different device, you can create a password for your account on PC and then you can load this up on your phone, click this button, type in your ID and your password, and then it will load your saved game on that device. However, because Unity has this token system where if it's not the first time you're visiting the game, it will automatically retrieve player data anyway. What we should do is we should highlight this button, because technically they are continuing a previous save, right? It's just that we don't need to have them log in using a user ID and password. We're doing it anonymously. So this makes this a little bit more complicated. New game is always going to be the same thing. New game is always going to be, look, we've made a new ID for you. You're starting a new game, or maybe not. Maybe you're starting a fresh game with an existing ID. But either way, you want a new game, a fresh experience, and you know you're going to have some kind of ID. But yeah, these two buttons want to behave differently depending on certain things, right? So for new game, if this is the first time the player's logging on, then new game selected shouldn't really do anything. It should just play the game as normal. However, if new game is selected and there is a game that can be continued, this is the point where we should say, hey, you've got a game here that you could be continuing. are you sure you want to lose your existing progress, right? Because you do actually have progress here. So yeah, this is where things do get a little bit more nuanced. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap these around, so at least visually we get the effect that we want. But yeah, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to do some sanity checks here as these buttons are clicked. And also we should default to the button depending on whether they're a new player or not. So probably the easiest way to do this is in Cloud, as we sign the player in and this and that and the other, right? We should make a public bool called first login, which will assume is true. And then if data is successfully retrieved from an existing player, we should set first login to false. Right, so now we have a bool that can tell us whether this is a new player or not. So back in our start screen here, setup, we can, okay, what we need to do first is link Cloud to system. So let's get our system manager in core system. So we want a public cloud. Actually, I'm just going to rename cloud so it has a capital C. The reason why is I like when I'm talking to my system manager and I'm getting class names, I like to keep it all in lowercase. It's basically just more efficient. You'll see this in a second. So basically what I do is I link my core system to the cloud like that. Then back in my script on setup, I already have a system reference. So what I can do now is I can say on first load, we can decide which one wants to be selected, right? So basically what we can do. So in the same way that I do this, right, if system control scheme is identified as a touchpad, then we want to change the keyboard and mouse option to touch, because keyboard and mouse isn't going to make sense on mobile, right? So similarly here we can say if system cloud first login, then, and then we can tell it which one needs to be selected, right? So if it's a first login, we want to highlight new game for them. So we want to say new game, else continue, which is that one. Okay, so we can test that. So what it should do when we run it now is it should automatically pick the continue option for us, because we do have an account already, right? We're UID 004. So let's press play and make sure that works. Forgot to tell you who's now wave band level 3 after I went all in on Camellia's banner. Okay. So you got an extra encore and an extra Yoo-hoo. Okay, so for whatever reason, it did sign us in as a returning player, and it signed us in with UID 4, but it highlighted new game for us. Did I get that the wrong way around? Okay, what it might be is that Cloud didn't have time to update. So I'll show you what we can do about that. Where is my Cloud? Yeah, we can see first login is false. So why did it highlight new game? Okay, the reason it highlighted new game is because first login defaults to true, and this thing loaded before Cloud had chance to grab the player data. So here's what we need to do. We need to add a hiding inspector, a public bool called isReady, which will default to false. And then what we do is when we've finished all of our functions that we need to do, we can say isReady equals true. And then what we do is on setup, now we need to queue this so that it waits for the player data to load before it presents the options to the player. Okay, so we need to expand this now. So good practice is to have some kind of visual feedback just in case things get stuck, right? Also, everything is a child of a child of a child of a child of a child. Yes, it is. Okay, this is a bit of a bitch. So because setup is the parent, we need to now make it not the parent. This was bad practice. I shouldn't have done it like this. This is very naughty of me. It's fine. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a new version of gamepad help, which is going to say await Cloud. And it's not going to have a script on it. And we can just say connecting. I've got to be careful not to say we. You get used to saying we because like that's what games would say because they're made by teams. But this contest is solo devs only, so I don't want to someone saying, oh, why does it say we if nobody helped you? It's like, no, I did do it on my own. It's just that it sounds better. Please wait whilst. I can't say we. I know it's a weird thing, but like you never know, right? Someone might be like, oh, whoa, we, who's we? Especially when the rules state that I need to develop this on my own, right? But I don't want to say please wait while I log you in because who's me? Like it sounds weird. So please wait whilst. I can just put please wait. I could say synchronizing player data. One moment, please. That's better. And I have, ooh, or I had, I've got a little animation. Let's see if I can find this. I think it's in my Dropbox. Hang on, I gotta be careful what I personal stuff in here. I don't want to show anything I'm not supposed to. I thought it was in here. You know those little spinny wheel things? Control. Yeah, I don't see it in there. I thought I did have one in there. Oh, spinner. Okay, there's one there. Yeah, I made this for a different project ages ago. It's cool though. Yeah, let's get that in here. Create an animation controller called spinner. God damn it. I thought image, that's why I put image and not raw image. I thought image supported sprites though. Apparently they don't. But it says it does. That's weird. Image.sprite source image. Is it because they haven't really imported sprites, maybe? Yes. Okay. There we go. Okay, it doesn't want to be that big. Okay, so now we can show that whilst we wait for our play data to upload. I think I prefer this here and this centered underneath it. We can make that a little bit bigger, I guess. All right, so it looks like that. Can also slow that down. How do I change frame? There's a way to change frame rate. Oh, you do it on the animation itself, I think. It says 60 FPS. No, I guess you don't. Oh, there is a way to do it. How do you do it? There we go. Sample rate. 30 FPS is probably going to be better because it's spinning a bit fast otherwise. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Okay, beautiful. So what we'll do instead, we'll make it so this is the default screen. And then we'll just close that when player data is loaded. So what we need to do now is reference that. And then, yeah, okay, what we also need to do is change that into a coroutine. So we need system collections, and we need to make start a coroutine. And it wants to yield something. So we'll do our references. And then this is where we've got to figure out if first login shit, right? So we'll yield return null. And all we need to do is say while system cloud is ready, is not ready. So we put the whole thing there. I'm going to actually just yield return null there. So that'll automatically drop out when cloud has finished loading the data. So then we want to say spinner set active to false. We'll do it at the bottom just after we've updated those things there. There we go. And if we do another yield return null there, or yield return new wait for end of frame, that just gives the UI a frame to redraw itself, basically. So nothing, it would be so fast you wouldn't see it anywhere, but technically that's the most accurate way to do it, because then by the time you remove this, the interface has already redrawn itself. So let's test that. It didn't bloody work. Did I forget to link it? Yeah, but I didn't get a null reference exception, which is weird. That is correct. So why didn't it work? Good question. So we're not getting down to here, I don't think. Are we getting... Is that start working at all? Start of start. I feel it in my start of starts. Start of start. We are updating cloud, right? So this would suggest that is ready in cloud is not actually updating correctly. Okay, let me just expose that variable so we can see it. I'm pretty sure we're not catching an exception. What the hell is happening? Okay, that's a good sign that is ready is ticking. But why the hell? I don't understand. It's perfect. It's literally perfect. We never reached the end of start, so we're probably still stuck in here, but that doesn't make any sense because Israeli is being ticked. Also, just because it's so that it's had enough time, I'm also going to put that condition after everything loaded from player data. I already know, well, I don't know, yeah, because I haven't fully tested that yet, because I haven't done all my mobile testing yet, but there is a chance that that's going to have the same issue, that the control system hasn't done everything it needs to do by the time we try and set that. So at least by moving it there, it should get a chance. What the hell is happening? This is so weird. I genuinely don't know why this isn't working. I could understand if the coroutine wasn't running for some bizarre reason, but it clearly is. I am so confused. I wonder if yield return no, well yield return null shouldn't drop it out of the coroutine. It just basically releases a frame. Well, okay, that technically releases a frame. But it releases a code frame, not necessarily a graphical frame. I am so confused. I don't know what is happening. Okay, I need to sanity check this. I'm pretty sure we're stuck in here, which makes no sense. So I'm literally going to echo back the value of that while stuck in there, and we will toggle it and see what happens. Interesting. So we're not even getting to that. What? What the hell is going on? Are we getting to there? This is really weird. This is actually breaking my brain. I don't know what the hell is happening. I'm going to restart Unity in a minute because this is not this it's defying all logic right now. Right, so we get to there in the code, but we don't get to there, which suggests that as we query system cloud is ready is somehow set to true. Okay, well, how about this then? I don't understand how that's possible, given that we declared the variable as initially false. At least I thought I did. Where is that? And to be extra safe, I set is ready to false here as well. It's declared as false. It's reset as false. Unless that's being set to true prematurely, maybe these aren't being awaited. No, I saw it do it though. Okay, for sanity purposes, setting is ready to true. The only other thing that could be happening is that no, because it's not even coming out of it. But it's going past the code. But it's not going past the code. Oh my god, that's why this is so confusing. Nothing makes sense, right? Because here's the thing, right? This is so insane. Here's the thing. Where is my setup? Right. If this is ready somehow, which it shouldn't be, as soon as we load this, right? Which is what it would suggest, given that we get here. But that's the thing, we never get here. Like, it doesn't make sense. Because we should still get to the end of this coroutine. So for whatever reason it was skipping this while loop, right? We should still do all of this and get to the end of the coroutine and get a debug message to say that we got the end of the coroutine, but we're not getting that. That's the weirdest part. I'm also going to say system.cloud is ready equals false. Because that might give me an indication as to whether maybe this script somehow is running too late or something. This is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. So we get here. Play services signs us in, finds our play data, loads our play data, and sets is ready to true. After, like way after, we get to this part. So why the hell are we not stuck in this loop? Stop yawning. Okay. I'm going to reload Unity because this is not making sense. I feel like this is like a Unity glitch or something. It's so weird. I need for things to make sense again. Because right now they're not. Why is it always stupid shit like this that takes the most amount of time? Here's Unity, right? Here's Unity. Hello, Unity. Yes, I would like to put 6,000 hippos on the moon. I want 14 kangaroos orbiting Pluto and 62 gorillas heading to the nearest supermassive black hole. Yeah, no problem. Alright, done. Thanks, bye. Oh shit, I forgot something. Yeah, Unity, yeah, I want you to just change the number 1 to the number 2 for me on the screen. What do you mean you can't do that? What do you mean too complicated? You can't, what? That's Unity. Okay, what I'm saying is, like, it's always this stupid fucking shit that's, like, basic shit that, like, trips you up, and you're there, like, banging your head against a brick wall thinking, why the fuck won't this fucking bull work properly? I swear to God, I'm going... Is the script still running? Does the script exit? Maybe the script got disabled? I never actually thought to check that. Where does this script live? Scenes, start, canvas. That's the only thing I can think. Where the fuck does any of this live? Nope, the script is still enabled. This literally makes no sense. I can't believe this. This is genuinely bamboozling me. Do we ever get to here? I am so confused right now. We never... Yeah, we never get to here. So we don't get to here, but we get to here. What the fuck is happening? Right, I genuinely do not know what the hell is going on. What I'm going to do, I'm going to branch this out. I'm going to make this a void, a normal void start. And I'm going to put the core routine stuff in a new core routine. Because this just doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't make any difference. But like clearly things aren't working and I can't figure out why. They should be working. I have no idea why. Well, we'll just call it await cloud. Okay. And everything we want to happen after cloud comes out, after we come out of cloud, needs to also be there. So that's all of this. I'd rather be awaiting Tifa, to be honest, but we have to await cloud. And oh god, I'd much rather await Tifa. God damn it, why didn't I call it Tifa? Right. Okay, if for whatever reason it didn't like start being a coroutine, which it normally doesn't mind, then it should be happy with that. But none of that made any sense at all. Okay, I need to jump out the window now. I actually need to jump out the window. There's no other solution. End of start. So we start of start, end of start. So we went through the start of start and the end of start. So we should have started the coroutine. We never reached the end of the coroutine. What is happening? This is fucking insane. I've never seen anything like this. I don't know what the hell is happening. Oh my god. What is happening? Start of coroutine. Is this coroutine even starting? This is genuinely driving me insane. I don't understand why it's not doing what I'm telling it to do. Start of coroutine, end of start. Which is fine, we would expect that because we call start route. We call that before we start. That's fine. There's something wrong with system.cloud. Can we debug system.cloud? What happens if we debug system cloud? This is actually driving me insane. Like, it doesn't make any... this is why it doesn't make any sense. We should either be stuck inside of the while loop and getting constant debug log messages, or we should fall out of the while loop incorrectly for whatever reason and get to the end of the coroutine. One or the other should happen. Neither are happening. That's what's breaking my brain. And like, I don't understand how either of them can be happening. So that is correct. System cloud is ready should be false because player data hasn't finished loading yet. What if we just change the name, change the logic, and just hard equals false? Oh, it's system.cloud. Yield return new, wait for end of frame. Debug.log cloud. This is driving me nuts. This is like one of the easiest things in the world to do. It's not, nothing is not even remotely complicated. I don't know why the hell it's not doing it. Yeah, again, we're not entering... Right, I'm going to ask Jibbity, see if Jibbity can answer this for me, because I am stumped. I do not understand why that is not working. That makes no fucking sense. All right, let's see what Jibbity has to say. Because I am completely stumped on this. From what you're describing, it sounds like system.cloud is ready. Might not be set to true. Wrong! Don't gaslight me, bitch. Why do you think I have a debug message above that line? You really think it would be that simple? You really think I would just be confused about what the value of the bool is? So basically, Jibbity doesn't know either. According to Jibbity, it should be working. Right, for my own sanity, I need to restart Windows right now because things aren't adding up. And I'm just banging my head against a brick wall. I don't mind banging my head against a brick wall if I'm trying to figure things out and I'm confused about how something works and I'm still figuring it out because that's sometimes the only way to get the answers that you're looking for. But I already know what should be happening is not happening. Jibbity is gaslighting me, which means everything's correct and it should be working. I tried restarting Unity. That didn't help. There was that weird... I have experienced something similar to this one time. Let me just do a malware scan. Because we did get that weird message in the browser, didn't we? Something was definitely trying to get onto my system. And there was one time when things really didn't make any sense in my code and my Unity. When I downloaded a... We were just talking about this earlier. I downloaded a naughty game. And it warned me there was a virus in it. And I was like, yeah, but I really want to play this game. What's the worst that could happen? So I literally let the virus onto my system. And played the game. And then kind of forgot about it. And I was programming, and I'm like, why the hell is this not working? And it just wasn't doing it. Just similar to this, where it just wasn't making sense. And in all my frustration, after hours and hours of banging my head against a brick wall, I decided to do like a virus scan, and then it found that virus, cleaned the virus off the system, and then I ran the same code, and it ran perfectly. And I was like, what the hell? That virus actually was stopping my code from working somehow. That's only ever happened once in the 12 plus years that I've been using Unity for. I've only ever seen that once. But I did see it once, so it always makes me just double check when things are this weird. Just in case. And we did get some weird browser messages about viruses and stuff, so I think something was trying to install itself, but I'm not an idiot. I know what I'm doing. I didn't install anything. But it's worth checking. I think I need to do a system. I think this is going to be one of these weird things where I'll restart my computer, I'll load it, and it'll just start working. But I'll need to end the stream, obviously, because I need to restart the computer. But I'm just going to do a quick malware scan first. I hate shit like this. It's like I've got so much to do. I can't be like cock blocked by such a basic thing when I've got so much to do. Got like 1,000 moving parts to line up. And the pervert priest over the road's blocking my driveway with his big fat sausage truck. What the fuck? You know what I mean? I'm expecting deliveries. I need 1,000 moving parts delivered. What the hell are you doing? Get out of my drive. You fat sausage fuck. So that's basically where we're at. Come on! No, you know what? Take your time. Take your time. Don't miss anything. Because I'm... Like, yeah, I'm stumped. I mean, my game was running all night last night while I was asleep and stuff like that. And the system probably has, well, the system did get restarted yesterday, so it shouldn't have been up for too long. But I don't know, sometimes things just fucking glitch out. No threats detected. That's what I thought. There's an update. Go on in. Yeah. So the only thing I can think of now is just a system restart, because something's glitched somewhere. I think there's nothing wrong with my code. Yeah, we did just get an update. Is story available yet? Optimization in progress. Thank you for your patience. The message just changed. Maybe that's what 400 megabytes was for. Change the message. Imagine. Let's do this. It's the exact same one I just did in it. Bye-bye. Thought she was supposed to be a playable character now. What constitutes as gameplay these days are running around picking up little yellow cubes. Makes me feel better about my game, actually. Like, this is an actual live game. And this is part of its gameplay loop. Running around picking up little yellow cubes. In the most depressing fucking looking institute ever, where everyone looks like they're ready to jump out the window. Whatever. .5 out of 5. Right. Jesus. Fucking at least ask first. Don't mind me, I'm just gonna fucking spoon rape you. Stop spoon raping her! Jesus Christ! I thought she wanted to speak to me. Oh my god, what is going on? Catcher. Random event. We just slept with her like 3 times in a row. What the hell? I'm a married man. I got 2 wives. And she's not even one of them. Right. Oh my god. Dispatch. What's dispatch? Giga bullshit. No, it's that thing. Story's locked out. Spend our energy. And then we can restart the computer. Done. Beautiful. Done. Beautiful. Is that dailies? Yes. 10 short. Screw you, game. Screw all you gacha games. I'm so done with you. Yeah, that's why I play them every day. Oh, not for long though. Too busy. Right, get out my sight. Get out my sight, Edgel. Alright. Well, I have to end the stream because things aren't adding up. So, I don't know what else to do. Except restart the system. So, I will see you probably soon. Hopefully soon. And hopefully things will make sense again. Bye.